In 2022, I moved with my family abroad, and today I'm going to share exactly how I convinced myself to do that in a way that you can easily repeat. And here's the key. If you do these things within the next 30 days, I promise, it will change your life. If you followed me for a bit, you've never heard me talk about these things before. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jamie. I moved to the Dominican Republic with my family, and I share all about life abroad on this channel. And in this video, we're going to get really deep on exactly how you can break through and live that dream expat lifestyle that you're looking to. And I'm gonna give you a little hint. The key to everything I'm gonna teach you today is right here. No BS. Come check this out. Now, there are 5 things that you need to do in order to change the circumstances of your life. And too often, and I'm included in this for many, many years, I jumped to number 4 and skipped the first 3. But the first 3, they're the essential ones. There's no foundation, there's nothing to build off of to make the changes you want in your life. And by the way, you can apply this to quitting your job, moving abroad, whether it's to the Dominican Republic or Europe or anywhere, to building a business, you name it. Let me show you. The first step is the most overlooked by far, and that is having a very clear vision. Now, for some people, this is like eye roll, like,
I have a vision.
I was that way as well. It felt woo-woo and airy-fairy and this, that, and the other, until I actually did it. But here's the thing, there's actually science behind this that I'm gonna share in a second, but I've learned over time from really successful people who moved abroad and did things that I wanted to do, that there are 3 key elements to outlining your vision for your life. The first thing is you have to write it as if it's already happened. That you're not doing it like one day I'm gonna do this. You literally have to sit down, go to the future, a date in the future 3, 4, 5 years from now, and just imagine, what is my life like? Not what's it gonna be like, but what's happened in the last 5 years. This can be tough. It's one of those things where kind of you're going into the unknown and trying to understand, how would I know what 5 years from now looks like? Here's a couple of thought exercises for you. First, imagine yourself 5 years older. Now imagine your wife or husband and what they look like. What's their hair color look like? What's the shape of their body, their skin? If you have kids, imagine if you got 9 or 10-year-old kids, what do they look like at 14 or 15 years old? When you start to create this picture in your mind, it creates a reality of your future, and now it's up to you to just state what your life is all about. Are you living abroad? Where are you living abroad? What does the house look like? What does it feel, taste, smell like wherever you are? That's the first step of effective vision. The second thing you have to do is write a vision that's only for you. Too often, people want to include in their vision all these things that are happening, like my kids are straight A students and my wife or my husband is crushing it or whatever. But here's the thing, you don't have control over that. I didn't want to be a straight A student, whether my parents wished that I was or not. So when it's coming to outlining the vision for your life, write it for you. Now, if you've got a co-created vision with your family, like moving abroad, like all of you, or you and your wife or husband have agreed, like, this is what we want. We want to take our kids and move them abroad. Of course, include that because your family has already discussed this. But try not to write a vision in such a way that is exciting because you've made everybody's life epic. Just worry about you. And the third element of writing an effective vision, and this is the hardest one, because you have to keep the how out of it. This is a vision. It's an outcome. It's where you see life being. It's not your goals. It's not like, I'm doing this because I did this. Keep the because I did this out of it. You may shift what you're going to do. If you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would have envisioned or thought that I would be this massive real estate investor, and that's how I would have freed myself from my job and moved abroad. But that's not what happened. Life changed, things pivoted, I got interested in certain things, I learned I didn't like other things, and I went down the path, but my role in real estate shifted significantly to more capital raising and marketing, not analyzing deals and managing them. So when you're doing your vision, just do the dream. What is the outcome of your life? Now, here's an interesting study that was done on the science of vision. This was in 1996 at the University of Chicago. Dr. Blaslato, I believe is his name. Google it, you'll see it. And here's what he did. He took a bunch of kids and brought them into a basketball gym and had them shoot free throws, foul shots. And then he tracked what they made and what they missed, their percentage. Say it was 70%. Group A, he sent them home and he said, look, I don't want you to think about basketball. I don't want you to look at a basketball. Don't touch a basketball for the next 30 days. No basketball for you. The second group he sent home and said, what I want you to do is grab a basketball every day for 30 minutes each day for the next 30 days and practice free throws. Get in the gym 30 minutes a day for 30 days and shoot. And the third group, he said, I want you to not touch a basketball, not go to the gym, but for 30 minutes every day for the next 30 days, I want you to just envision and imagine making free throws in your mind. Here's the results. The first group, no change in their percentage made from the prior 30 days. They didn't look, touch, think about basketball, and they were exactly the same. The second group, who went in the gym every day and shot, saw a 24% increase. Makes sense, they were practicing. The third group, who only went home and visualized shooting, they saw a 23% improvement. Virtually the same without touching a basketball. Having a vision is not something that is just like this nice airy-fairy thing. It's something that you have to outline and anchor into and then consult and look back at consistently so you know where you're going. You know where your GPS is taking you at the end of the day. For me, my vision was to travel 3+ months with my family anywhere in the world. That's what I told myself. We travel 3 months a year more anywhere we want in the world. And then we spent 2+ years in the Dominican Republic. Hey, you fall in love with the place, again, things morph and change, but if not for the vision, the next few steps wouldn't have mattered much. All right, with the vision in hand, the next thing you have to do is you need to make a change, and it's a big one. And that change, that shift, that is in your identity. Here's the thing about identity. Most people think that identity occurs once you've achieved the thing you're trying to do, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The real science of identity is that you make a shift now in who you are, and then the result lags. It happens in many areas, but the most easy example I could use is simply becoming a parent. If you look up the definition of what parent is, it's a person's father or mother. So that means technically that you're not a parent and your identity is not that of a parent until your baby is out of the womb. But what really happens is the moment that you find out that you or your wife are pregnant, your identity shifts instantly into that of a parent. What do I buy? What color are we gonna paint the room? Let's childproof the house. All the things that a parent would do, you start doing. Your identity shifts in that moment, and then the result lags. 9 months later, you've got your baby. The same is probably if you've ever been promoted. You probably shifted your identity to the next level and started doing things that next level would do before you actually got the job. And it's no different if you're going to become an expat. You need to decide and shift your identity into that of an expat, anchored by your vision, and the result will simply lag. Harvard did a study on this. This is back in the 70s. I think it was around 1977, 1978. And here's what they did. They went and found a bunch of old guys in their 80s that lived in like an elder care facility. And they took some of those folks and they moved them for a week into a different home, and they simulated that home as 1958, 20 years earlier. They put no mirrors in the house. They had newspapers from 1958, TV shows from 1958, and they instructed the folks in the home to talk about life like it was 1958. A week later, the results were studied between this group and the folks that remained in the old folks home, or whatever you call it, and the results were staggering. The study found an improvement in posture, gait, energy, strength, and so many other things just simply by shifting these folks into a new identity, and then the result lagged. When you've got that vision that you're anchored into, this outcome, this dream of your life, and now you've decided, I'm an expat. Not I'm gonna be, I am right now. You start doing expat shit. That's what happens with identity shift. All right, so this third element is essential to complete the foundation of what needs to be done in order for you to become an expat. And really, this was the biggest piece of how I convinced myself to move abroad as well. And that is, I found the right community. There's a common saying around crabs in a barrel. Maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe some of you haven't. I'll just explain it real quick. The concept of crabs in a barrel are, if you walked up to a barrel with a bunch of crabs in it, crabs in a barrel, and one of those crabs tries to crawl out, all the other crabs reach up and drag it back down into the barrel. Oftentimes people come up with like, man, I got this big vision for my life, and you know what? I'm not what I am. I'm gonna be this. This is who I am going forward. But then they bring all of that, those dreams, that vision, and that identity back to the crabs in their life. And these aren't bad people. This is family, mom, dad, sister, brother, could even be a spouse. And that's fine. You're not gonna lose these people, nor should you. But you need to find a group of people that represent where you're going. Here's what I call it. In life, we have great remember when people. They know us for who we've been all of our lives. And so when we start to deviate from that, I'm gonna quit the job, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna move abroad, they warn us off of it. They wanna keep us safe. A lot of my audience is from the Dominican Republic or has Dominican roots. So if you've told your parents, who maybe immigrated once upon a time, or your uncle or whatever, that you wanted to move back to DR, how often have they warned you off of that? They've told you about safety and all these other things. And here you are watching this dude who, if anyone's gonna be unsafe, you think it'll be this face in a place like this, telling you, I actually feel safer here. It makes it odd in your brain because you have all these remember when people surrounding you. What you need to do is go out and find imagine when people. And that's what I did. I actually went out and paid for it. I joined a group called GoBundance. This was specifically men and specifically entrepreneurs. And I pay country club type prices to be a member of this community. But here's what I did. I took that vision, I took this identity, and I shared it with them. And what they did was whenever we would meet, and I would meet every week with a core group of guys to get accountability, and I would start to get nervous about, I'm not sure I should do this. I'm starting to retract back to remember when. These guys are like, I don't know who you've been. I know where you're going, and I'm gonna hold you accountable to who you've become, not who you've been. So whenever I lost my nerve, whenever I was getting nervous about pursuing things, whenever something would fail and I feel bad about it, these guys pushed me forward because they're invested as my Imagine When friends in the imagined future, not the remembered past. That's a good one. I should get a t-shirt made on that. Find your community. Whether it's friends you can meet with regularly or if you're going to invest money into something that you're going to take advantage of. That's what I do. I love what are called mastermind groups. I'm in a few different ones because I know when I enter that room and I plunk my money down, I am more invested than ever in making sure that I execute. Like a GoBundance costs me $12,500 a year. And I always say it gives me 12,500 reasons to engage and push forward with my life. Worth every penny. All right, folks, look, this is the Triad right here. If you do these three things, it builds a solid foundation for you to do the next thing. And the next thing is what most of us start with. In fact, many of you are here for this next thing without having done these three things right here. So before I give you the fourth thing, make the commitment to sit down and outline your vision in the way that I described, like it's already happened, that it's only for you and there's no how, there's no goals in there. It's just your vision. With that vision, make the decision. Who are you? What is your identity? And claim it. And then bring that to the few people you may know or find the people that you don't know yet to share that with them so they cultivate that identity and they help push you forward. When you became a parent, if you did, everyone was behind you on that. You are now a parent the moment your wife was pregnant or the moment you were pregnant, if you're the wife. That's the kind of community you can find for this dream that not everybody is going to support. Now, before I share the fourth and the fifth thing and how VapoRub plays into all of this, I do have a couple of asks for all of you. First, listen, more than half of the people watching this aren't subscribed. Subscribers help this channel grow. It tells YouTube that, man, this is good content. A like and a comment help as well. So if you could take a second, tap that like button, tap that subscribe, maybe even drop a comment. It helps me grow what I'm trying to do here. And I love, love, love content creation. Second, from a buying perspective, if you're specifically looking at the Dominican Republic, down in the description on this video, there is a link where you can request a connection to a realtor that I vetted and that I trust. So just fill out the form. It's 7-8 questions, and I'll make sure you get connected to somebody really cool. I've had 3 or 4 people just in the last week message me like, man, your realtor was amazing, first class, unbelievable, and I bought a property. So cool to hear. And if I can help remove that one obstacle of finding a great realtor, I want to do that. And full disclosure, those realtors will pay me a referral fee. That's what helps me support my life so I can sit here and create more content for you. All right, so if you've got your vision, your identity, and you found a community that can help you cultivate that, the next thing, and only at this point should you really dive deep on knowledge. This is where most of us start. We read the books, we watch the YouTube channels, we're looking for the tactics. I get it all the time. Questions I get are like, how do I find a remote job? And I tell people, here's a website. And they go, oh, okay, and then don't do anything with it. Or how do I find property? And I go, hey, here's a link, find a realtor, I can help you with that. And then people don't do it. Knowledge is everywhere. You can get it anywhere you need. Information is so simple to get nowadays. If it were as easy as all the books say, all you got to do is apply their knowledge and voila, you'll have the result. But that knowledge is only usable and integrated when it's anchored to a deep vision, when your identity aligns with the kind of action it takes to apply that knowledge, and you've got people, a community helping you integrate all of this information that you've gotten. It's not that you shouldn't do the work like watching channels on YouTube or reading books or visiting the place you want to move to or whatever. Of course, you should obtain knowledge, but that knowledge isn't going to get traction unless you have the first 3 elements of what we talked about today. Information is cheap. Integration takes work. And to integrate that information, have a vision, shift your identity, and have the right people around you. So now at this point, you're ready for the 5th and final step, which is strategy. Remember I said in your vision, keep the how out of it, just dream a bit. Once you've done that and all of these steps, and you could do all of these in the next 2 days, let alone 30. Now you can start the how. This is your strategy. What do you think you're gonna do? When are you gonna do it? Who's holding you accountable to that? All of that is strategy. But here's a secret, something that a lot of folks, especially if you're in the space like I was of, well, I got this job and I'm gonna have to leave that job for me to realize my dream, but leaving that job is really scary. So, I'm not sure. What I've learned is the big move, the big quit the job or whatever it is, doesn't get started because we believe that we have to make the right decision the first time. And like I said earlier, when I left, it was like real estate. And I was like, wait a minute, I like real estate, but I don't love these things about real estate. But the things I do like are the interactive part. So I built a networking group in Michigan around real estate. And honestly, I spent more of my time on that than I did on acquiring real estate. But I met people that I partnered with. I got investors from that, and I really enjoyed that. Built a brand around it. I was on a Bigger Pockets podcast, if anybody knows what that is, episode 436, if you want to check it out. It's a little dated now, but you could see it. Then after a while, I was kind of done talking about real estate. Like, I loved the brand of real estate that I was building, but it wasn't my thing. I couldn't talk about it forever. So I took it to the next level of, I like talking about success and entrepreneurship and changing your life and all of that stuff. So I built a podcast called Tribe of Millionaires in that space, and somewhere in here, that plus a community I built were the things that freed me from my day job along with the real estate. And all of these things I was able to do remotely, therefore, I can live anywhere I want to. My vision was number one, as I stated it. I've designed a life where my family and I travel 3+ months a year anywhere we want in the world. Anchored in that, all my actions, my identity, who I surrounded myself with, what they held me accountable to, the knowledge I acquired, and the strategy I put in place were all anchored in that vision. The tactics can change. Goals and strategy, they shift. We all know that. Think about war. Strategies shift. You lose the battle, you win the battle, whatever it might be. But that vision is so important to be anchored into. So you might be wondering now, what in the world does any of this have to do with this? Another Dominican reference, probably most Latin American countries, VapoRub cures all. So if you're wondering and trying to remember what this model is all about, just remember, you want to follow. It's all about that VIX, baby. Now look, here's where I can help. First, I've already given you this model and how to create your vision. You have to go out there and execute it, actually do it. If community is something you're looking for, I have created a community called GoBundance Emerge, which is for people that are looking to get accountability for whatever goals they have for their life. Moving abroad, building a business, buying real estate, you name it. And we've created over 90 millionaires with that group. I'll drop the link below for you to apply. You can get on a call with one of my member ambassadors to see if it's a right fit for you as well as for the community. But I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these for you is the hardest to implement, maybe the easiest to implement? Drop it down below in the comments, let me know. And here's to you getting what you want out of this life. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go cover my family in VIX. It's tradition in this household.